Hello, welcome to Peak AI. Today, we're meeting with Justin Butcher. Justin is a captain of industry in Canberra, Australia. He's led his own IT consulting firm for many years. He's also consulted with all of the major government departments for Australia, specifically the ones in Canberra. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Great to be here in sunny downtown Queenstown, New Zealand.
Yeah, thank you for meeting us in Queenstown. It was an interesting journey to come and find and meet you and to be able to interview you. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I like riding a mountain bike. Viewers can see one behind me, which has got 36-inch wheels, and that's kind of fun.
Definitely looks fun.
I'm interested in what makes the world work, what makes people tick, and the rapid change of so many things in the world, in society and technology. And I know we're going to talk about AI in a minute, and I think it's just an incredibly exciting revolution. I looked at the internet in the mid-90s and I thought this is something really big that's going to change everything. And from where I sit now, I look at AI, in particular Gen AI and the latest versions of ChatGPT in particular, and I think, wow, this is a internet level game changer. So I'm excited to be here chatting about it.
Awesome. We're excited to have you because this is the exact kind of conversation we want to have. For a starting point, from your perspective, when you refer to AI, what is it that you mean?
I try and level my conversations so that I mean the same thing that I think other people are meaning. And that's a really good question because it means different things to different people.
Exactly.
For those of us who studied computer science maybe a few decades ago, there were specific meanings to the word that are probably very different to what most people think of these days. So I try not to be too analytical about it, but I think a lot of people think of AI as ChatGPT. You know, it's become so incredibly popular so quickly, and it's expanded people's views of what Gen AI at least is about. So I have a pretty broad definition, and I try and ask other people a question.
That's a great way of doing it. So just to follow on with that same context, so if you have a broad understanding or broad view of what AI means, do you feel that might differ from what other people, when you hear other people talking about AI, what they mean, and particularly the media?
Yeah, I think people talking about AI these days are talking about generative AI, whether it being talking to ChatGPT or creating images or music or helping you write an essay for an assignment. I think it's that creative. I think that's what's capturing people's imagination at the moment, and mine too.
Awesome. So given that, what are some of the areas of AI that you are most excited or engaged by?
Well, I think we're just coming to grips with the reality of AI being able to do things in the real world that used to take humans. And so the idea of having almost an assistant on your phone that's like a smart uni grad that I used to hire with my consulting firm. You know, I used to take great care to pick the brightest, most enthusiastic grads that I could find, you know, with great grade point averages from uni and little knowledge and experience of the world, but great intelligence and enthusiasm and eagerness to learn and help. And sometimes I think of Gen AI as being a bit like having your own grad walking around everywhere with you.
Awesome. Great analogy.
Which is super exciting.
Yeah.
You know, so exciting.
So given that, what are the most unexpected ways that AI has affected or impacted you?
I think like a lot of people, it's just easy to get AI to improve your writing. And I pride myself in being a good writer, in command of the English language. And I don't always like what ChatGPT does to my writing, but occasionally I think, wow, that made it so much easier. And it's written it better than I probably would have come up with. That's certainly inspiring and exciting, but that makes me think of all the other things you could do with it.
Yeah.
I think in government, because Australian federal government is where I've spent a lot of my career, and I think about some of the big problems that government struggles with, like working out how to pay the right amount of welfare to a welfare recipient, or how much tax to charge a small business, or how to apply the rules of entry to Australia when someone applies to become a citizen of Australia, for example. And the government has spent many decades in Australia adding more complexity to those rules, to the point where they're really difficult to get right, and it takes lots of human hours and human anguish to try and work through those systems. Government spent incredible billions of dollars and countless human hours developing these deterministic systems, big mainframe systems, now moving to more modern platforms. But some of those problems are big, intractable problems that the Australian government has tried so hard to solve for so long. And I think taking a generative AI approach to solving those problems brings a whole different lens. And the power of what can be done there is incredibly exciting.
You were telling me when we were prepping for the interview, one of the examples of Hansard notes. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? And a lot of our viewers aren't going to know what Hansard notes are. So yeah, if you could tell us that. I think that was one of the many interesting stories shared with me. So if you could share that with our viewers, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, great. In many governments around the world, there's similar versions of this, but I'll just talk about the Australian Commonwealth Government. We have a series of events throughout every year called Senate Estimates. So Senate Estimates is the opportunity for the opposition senators to ask all the revealing, penetrating questions of the most senior public servants who run the government departments, who run our police force, our tax office, our Department of Health and Education, and these other big, complex government organisations. The senior public servants are obliged under law to answer the questions. And like all human beings, they don't want to look stupid and underprepared. They try really hard to have good answers for the senators. Preparation for Senate estimates takes an enormous amount of work. Many dozens of people in every government department are watching Senate estimates, and they're all busily preparing content, and they're saying, okay, it looks like the questioning is going in this direction, or we just took a question on notice, we've got to have that back quickly to the Senate estimates process. And the story that we were talking about was where Gen AI was used to take the Hansard, that's the shorthand written notes that the parliamentary process creates out of Senate estimates, and also taking all the relevant government policies for a particular government department, combining those as inputs, if you like, and using generative AI to produce summaries for the most senior public servants. And so they could get a fresh copy every morning saying, we're seeing the senators asking comments in this sort of area, the questions are trending onto these topics, and here's all the information we've prepared on our policy positions, on our latest, quantitative reporting from that area. And not only was it highly effective, but it saved an enormous amount of human effort. So I think it was a really great use of AI, and it was very, very successful.
I absolutely love that use of AI and introducing a huge layer of efficiency as opposed to inefficiency, which is what we hear so much about in government. So leveraging AI to give summarized notes and direction and theme messaging. So big shout out to Elon Musk. Hey Elon, for your Doge group, you may want to consider using XAI and Grok to introduce a little bit more efficiency with our friends in Congress. Thank you.
Massive opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. And if you need someone to head it up, Elon, just reach out.
Oh gosh, so many opportunities for AI to help us all. We are getting to the even more intriguing insights with our guest Justin Butcher, and time has gotten away. Let's take a short break and come back in a part 2 video.